Weather Talk, discussing the British climate books. Dialogue. Mrs. Everleigh. Good morning, Mrs. Langdon. Quite overcast, is it not? Mrs. Langdon. Indeed, though I dare say the sun might peer through by luncheon. Verbs. To comment on the weather. To complain about the drizzle. To delight in a fresh breeze. To prepare for a sudden storm. To shelter from the rain. To speak of the sky's color. To warn about the forecast. To listen to the barometer report. Sentences. It's rather gloomy this morning, I must say. One should always carry a brolly in such weather. The air feels refreshingly crisp today. We must prepare for a sudden change in the wind. I dare say the fog will lift by mid-morning. The rain was most relentless last night. A splendid breeze is sweeping across the moor. The sky is overcast with a hint of drizzle. One ought to wrap up warmly on a day like this. Quite the storm we had last Tuesday, wasn't it? It feels unseasonably warm for January. Do you suppose the frost shall hold till dawn? The weather has turned delightfully mild. We should shelter from this sudden downpour. I fear my hat will not survive this bluster. The temperature has dropped most alarmingly. I find the haze over the village most poetic. The sun did shine, albeit briefly. We've been blessed with fair weather of late. One must never underestimate a British spring. A gentle discussion beneath the British sky. The morning mist curled gently over the hedgerows of Wiltshire as Lady Hyacinth Featherstone stepped onto the gravel path leading from the conservatory. Wrapped in a wool shawl of muted lavender, she surveyed the grey sky above with a mild disapproval only an Englishwoman of her stature could muster. "Rather gloomy again," she murmured to no one in particular, "though I shan't complain. It is, after all, what one expects in mid-April." Presently, her neighbour, Colonel Thistlewick, arrived at the garden gate bearing a barometer in one hand and a folded newspaper in the other. His greatcoat flapped behind him in the fresh breeze. "Morning, Lady Hyacinth," he called, tipping his hat. "The mercury's dropped an inch since dawn. Might be in for a bit of weather." She smiled faintly. "Indeed, Colonel. Though I must admit, I find a brisk wind rather invigorating. One can almost smell the sea in it today." They strolled together past the rose beds, yet to bloom, commenting on the clouds that loomed heavy over the downs. Overhead, gulls circled in a pattern that, to the Colonel's mind, portended rain. He was a firm believer in birds as barometers. "The fog came in thick over the eastern meadow this morning," he noted. "Had to wait till nearly 8 before I could see the church steeple." "Quite typical," Lady Hyacinth replied. "Though my maid insists it will clear by luncheon. She listens to the wireless forecast as though it were scripture." "I trust the radio less than I trust old Mr. Bartholomew's knees," the Colonel chuckled. "If he limps, I pack a mackintosh." They paused beneath the beech tree by the fountain. The wind rustled the leaves, and somewhere in the distance, a low rumble of thunder offered a modest warning. "I ought to retrieve my parasol," Lady Hyacinth mused, "though it may be more a day for one's brolly." "Indeed," said the Colonel, "and one must always be prepared. It is the British way." As a light drizzle began to descend, more a polite mist than true rain, they made their way back toward the manor, content in the knowledge that, even in such a fleeting and fickle climate, the weather offered endless opportunities for conversation, observation, and the subtle dance of civilized remarks. For, as everyone in England knows, one may speak of little and mean much, so long as the weather is involved.